Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, episode 42. Yes, 42, because somehow I thought I did episode 42 already, so I misnumbered last week, so it's episode 42 this week, and next week will be 44. I know it's a little confusing, guys, but it'll only be for this 2 weeks. It will be confusing. But yeah, so of course let's start the show. This show where I review all the comics I read this week in one show. This week I have 17 comics, 5 digital, rest printed, so let's get started. Let's get started with the worst pick of the week. First I just want to say, not many bad comics. So even though these are lower comics, doesn't mean they're bad. They're actually pretty good comics this week. So, number 17 is worst pick of the week. All New Ultimates issue 1. I do not want to say this is my worst pick of the week, but it wasn't great. It really wasn't. I think the art really was the reason I did not like this issue. The jaw lines look so weird. I'm going to keep showing the same pages, but look at these jaw lines. Even Kitty one page looks really, really weird. Let me show you that. They just do not look like their characters. Hopefully I can find that Kitty page. A little bit, yeah. Kitty... all the jaw lines look really weird. The characters just don't look like themselves. So yeah, the art really took me out of the story, and the story was, a little generic. It was, it's a setup story. I understand it. We get to see Spider-Woman. She wants to change her identity, but she doesn't really say why in this issue. She's just like, cut my hair, Kitty. And then she's like, I'm Black Widow, not Spider-Woman. So we'll see what's going on with that. And then we learn a little bit more about the characters, I guess. Like Cloak and Dagger, they're still supposed to be dead, so they have to deal with that. Miles, nothing really going on with him in this issue. Kitty, she still has to deal with, like, everyone likes me now, but everyone used to hate me, so how do I deal with that? So there's some interesting story, I'm going to say that. There's some cool story, but nothing that really blows my mind, and the art took you so out of this story. And then there's kind of a generic villain too. They're from Roxxon. It was kind of interesting though, because they're kind of related to Cloak and Dagger because they're from Roxxon. So we'll see where it goes. It wasn't horrible, but for this week, I didn't really read that many bad comics, and this really disappointed me out of all of them. So that's why it was really down there. So I'm gonna give this 3 stars. Not bad. We'll see where it goes though. I was really upset with it. I really wanted more with the Ultimates, so I'm gonna give that number 17. Really mostly because of my disappointment. Alright, number 16 is Superior Foes of Spider-Man, issue 11. The Superior Foes weren't even in this issue, so, and it's also a Comic Frontline exclusive. But yeah, they weren't really in this issue. It's about these two they're C-list villains, but they're so C-list that they're worse than our superior foes. They're less popular than them. It's mostly showing that Spider-Man has changed and how they have to deal with that. They usually just like having a fun fight. They know they're never gonna win, but they're just having a fight. The first story was actually pretty entertaining. I did like it. Again, nothing bad this week. It's still a good issue. It's just out of everything I read, this is something I least thought you guys should pick up. And that's what this is about. This is a countdown of what you guys should pick up, what I really loved. And with Superior Foes, it was like, I don't know if you really need this issue. And you really don't. It was fun, but not as fun as it usually is. The art was actually pretty good for the first story, and I really liked the first story. But the second story, just like, this is kind of getting old. It's the same story, kind of a different origin. And the art was okay for the second story. And really, the overall thing is that Spider-Man has changed, and people have to deal with it. And they don't know what to do. They're scared of Spider-Man, and there's no more jokes. So they're upset about that. So I'm going to give it 3 stars. Wasn't needed, not really. It's really a filler issue of a kind of filler series, which in a good way, this is a filler series. But yeah, I miss my old, Superior Foes. I can't call them the Sinister Six because they're not 6 of them. But yeah, I kind of miss my old characters here that I have fun with. It was less fun, and I'm going to give it 3 stars. If with so many comics that are coming out, is it worth it? It's kind of on the fence. Alright, number 15 is Shudder, issue 1. And this is a okay issue. I feel, we got to learn about this girl who, her father and her, they had a lot of adventures with each other. It's like in their blood that they have adventures. Art is really good here. The way it's introduced, it shows like the credits for, it felt very cinematic. So, you know what I mean. I don't know why I can't say that word right now, but we'll go on to the review. It felt very film-like, and I did really like that. And the art's, again, really good for this series. And the story's interesting. We get to see this girl who partnered up with her father. Her father did pass away, and she takes pictures now. It's more of a perspective series. And these villains are going after her and saying, hey, you have siblings. So I like that. I thought it was an interesting series. There's points where I'm like, I don't know, like, what is original about this, so I want to see the originality of it. But I did like it. I did like it, but out of all the series, again, out of all of these issues that came out this week, this is the one I was kind of least impressed with. But I still really liked it. Still, I think you should pick it up. It was actually interesting. I'm going to see where it goes. Can I see this on my pull list for a while? We'll have to see. I'm going to give it maybe 2 more issues to really feel it out, see if it's my type of series. Alright, next is number 14, which is All New Doop, issue 1. This issue actually surprised me. I liked it. There's some parts in this issue, though, where it's very, I've seen this before with the X-Men. There's one part where Kitty is teaming up with Cyclops, which I think happened after Battle of the Atom. And then the second section is during Battle of the Atom, so that was misplaced, I think. But it's mostly about Doop falling in love with Kitty Pryde, Kitty not even noticing him, and he's like videotaping Kitty, which is really weird. But he's in love with her, and in the end says, hey, I love you. Do you want to marry me? And Kitty's like, how am I going to marry you if I don't even understand you? And Doop's like, I could fix that. He rips himself apart and says, hey Kitty, I can talk to you now. And that's the ending. So I think this issue is a good setup. There's some bull in this issue, I would say. It's like a lot of fillerness, and with that, I think it was like Battle of the Atom, like all those parts, like Iceman talking, that was really filler. I've seen that before. But what's interesting is the Doop things, like how he lived on the outside of these situations. So it was needed for the first issue, but I hope we don't really get to see that more with the next issues. And I think the next issues actually could be really good and really fun because we won't get those fillerness of Battle of the Atom and Cyclops and scenes we've already seen in all new X-Men and I guess Wolverine and the X-Men. So I liked it though. It was a lot of fun. It pleasantly surprised me. I thought this was going to be a lot worse than it was. The art was really good. I thought it was really cute art. And it's a good mini-series, so I'm going to give this 3.5 stars, and I say pick it up. It was really fun, and I think it'll surprise you guys too. If you're a fan of these fun type of series, I think it's a good mini-series to pick up. Alright, next is number, I think 13. Yes, number 13, which is Shotgun Wedding, issue 2. I really love the art for this series. I will keep saying that. It's only a 4-issue miniseries. It comes out every week, so it's like for the month of April. And the story's a little bit, like, it's not really going anywhere. It's very predictable, I would say. It's like, oh, well, the woman hates this guy because the guy's marrying someone else, and he wants to kill him. She wants to kill him at the wedding. And that's why it's called Shotgun Wedding. So I think the next 2 issues are going to be a little bit better, but the art is great. Like, if it wasn't in black and white, I think I would have dropped this already. The black and white of this series makes it perfect. I love it. The art is great. It's something different. And the story's interesting, too. A little predictable. That's why it's kind of lower on my list. But it's a really fun series. I recommend it. And it's a weekly series, so you don't have to wait too long. You remember exactly what happened in the last issue. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 3.5, especially for the art, but the story's pretty good too, but a little predictable. Alright, next is number 12, which is Iron Fist, the Living Weapon. This is good, but really weird to judge, because I haven't really read much of Iron Fist. What I've known about Danny Rand, I thought he was a fun character. He's a kung fu person. He was part of Heroes for Hire, best friends with Luke Cage. That's what I know about Iron Fist. I read a good amount of issues with him, but really nothing too much with him. But yeah, so I was looking forward to this, but the art is very dark, and the tone of this series is very dark. Didn't expect that. In the art, I mean, the story's a little bit jumpy, which I'll get into as I describe it, but this issue is about how, I guess Iron Fist is not enjoying life. He describes his origins, how his father was pretty much crazy because his obsession of going somewhere. He's an adventurer. He brought his wife, and obviously Danny, which was his son, And I guess Danny's turning into his father in ways, and has the same eyes, because they're both obsessed with things. And now we get to see these ninjas going against Danny, this little girl trying to warn Danny about these ninjas, and Danny's like, well, I have to go back home. So I guess this is back at the ice place where his father died and passed away because he was so crazy, because he was so obsessed with whatever he was supposed to get. I don't know if they actually say where it was, but I guess it was like Antarctica or something. I liked it. I really liked the story. I thought it was something different with Danny's character, but I think it was really dark. I like this as a first issue, but I don't know if it'll stay on my pull list because I think this could get really old after a while. I'm like, alright, it's a little too dark. The story, like this little girl pops out of nowhere. Why are they trying to get this reporter, which I didn't mention, but they're trying to get this reporter for some reason. What makes her important? So it's a little jumbled, this story. But there's some really interesting parts. But is it interesting because he's Iron Fist, or is it just interesting as story? That's the question. It doesn't really feel like Iron Fist at all. You know, as much as I know about Iron Fist. Like, he does the Kung Fu stuff, but this doesn't feel like Iron Fist. It feels really dark. So I'm going to give it a 3.5. I'm going to give the next issue a try. It's a little weird. But I did like the story, so I'm going to give it 3.5. But we'll see where the series goes. Alright, so next is number 11, which is Avengers Undercover issue 2. I like this issue also. It's more of a point A to point B issue. But it's very interesting. Again, if you're an Avengers Arena fan, which I haven't read Avengers Arena, I think you're going to get a little bit more out of this, though. But they're trying to save their friend. I don't think they have the name of him. I think it starts with a C. They're trying to save their friend that went to this villain island. And we find out that their friend turns into a villain, and he just wants to capture Arcade. And that's the end of the issue. They all go to this function where they know that Arcade's going to be, and they trick everyone that was part of the Avengers Arena to go there, because they didn't know Arcade's going to be there, so now they're going face-to-face to Arcade. And I thought that was really quick, because I mean, it's the beginning of the issue, but they're going against Arcade. I'm like, yeah, okay, finally. I don't know what the series is going to be about after they destroy Arcade, but hey, I think that's a good idea. There's some really good character moments too, but, you know, because I'm a big Runaways fan. Between Nico and Chase, I think there's some good moments there, and, you know, Hazmat has some good moments, so there's some really good character moments, but again, it's very point A to point B, but I did like it. I thought it was a good issue, but compared to other stuff that came out, I don't know if I'm always excited for Avengers Undercover. I don't know if I'm emotionally attached to it yet, but I do like it. The art's a little bit on the puffy side, a little bit on the weird side, but it's a good issue. I did like it. It's going to be on my pull list for a while. I could see it. Cover's a little weird, a little bit too dark for me, but we'll see where it goes. I thought it was a really good cliffhanger. I thought it was a good issue, so I'm going to give it 3.5, but still I need something to excite me about it. It attached me to these characters a little bit more. Alright, next is number 10. We're already up to number 10, which is, one of the index cards fell, sorry. Alright, next is All New X-Men, issue 25. I would say this is a little bit more of a generic anniversary issue. I just swallowed ice, sorry. So yeah, this is more of a generic all-new X-Men issue. It shows that Beast is like, this is the bad part of the X-Men. This could be the X-Men, because the Watcher is showing this to Beast. That's pretty much the whole issue. I mean, it shows some really good art. Yeah, I'll describe that after. But it shows, it has a Bruce Timm art with Jean Grey, which I love. I'm going to show you that right here. That's awesome. So, you know, one cool thing is we do get to see some good panels with our X-Men, what they could be, what they have been. And then in the middle somehow, it gets interrupted with these like mini cartoons, which maybe should have been in the end instead of the middle. I think they misplaced that in this issue, in my opinion. But they are fun. You get to see Kitty chasing Colossus is never the right time, so I thought that was really fun. We get to see Wolverine and Cyclops as old men, so yeah, the mini cartoons are fun, but out of place, because telling the Beast story, and then random cartoons, and then the Beast story again, so that was a little weird. But I liked it. It's a little bit on the generic side. We've seen this stuff before, but it's a fun issue. Definitely worth picking up, but not the best anniversary issue I've ever seen. So I'm going to give it a 3.5. I liked it. It's worth picking up, but it's nothing that blew my mind either. Alright, number 9 is Robin Hood Legend, issue 2. And again, this is in the opinion of someone that's just starting Robin Hood. I thought it was a fun adventure. We get to see Robin Hood, she's going against, trying to go to the villain. The villain finds out that she's there, and she's also trying to go with her feelings and try to fix her feelings, trying to really see what her feelings mean, because one of the people that she loved that almost died says, I love you. And it's like, oh, well, you know, I love you too. But says in her own way. And then we find out that he's still dying and doesn't tell Robin Hood, and Robin Hood's very upset about this. So that's pretty much the whole issue. We do learn that he is dying, and that's, you know, that's Robin Hood's very upset about that because she does love him, but really doesn't know how to express it in a way. But, you know, obviously the guy that loves her does know that she loves him also. So I think that's going to be really interesting. One thing I do want to learn more about is these supporting characters. I really don't know them. I need to learn a little bit more about them. I might have to go back to learn more about them. But this is a fun issue. I thought it was very medieval. I'm not too much into the medieval stuff. It seems like that's what the land is all about. But I liked it. I thought it was a really solid issue, point A to point B issue, and it's making me really enjoy the Robin Hood character. So I'm going to give it 4 stars, and now it's number 9. Alright, number 8 is Superman Wonder Woman, issue 7. This is a very solid issue too, and even though Tony S. Daniel didn't do the art's pretty similar, and I really love the art for this issue, and why it's actually a lot higher than maybe the story was, is because of the art. The art's amazing. I love this issue for the art, and we get to see pretty much Wonder Woman and Superman healing up after that whole explosion, and that's pretty much what the whole issue is about, is them healing up, and then like, let's celebrate, let's go to London and hang out. But then there's also the thing going on with Doomsday, because this is the prelude to Superman Doom, and he's rising up, and we'll obviously see more of that probably in other series for the prelude and the Superman Doom series in general. I like this issue though, even though it's more of like nothing really going on, it's them healing. I love the art. I thought the dialogue was pretty good, and it was a solid issue. I liked it. So I'm going to give it, and also for someone that's not even interested in Doomsday story arc that's going to come up, I thought it was pretty good. I did like it. It was a good prelude, and I thought it was solid. So I'm going to give that 4 stars. I think that was number 8. But I'm not going to get the next issue, not because I'm dropping Superman Wonder Woman, I'm just not reading Superman Doom, and I'm not picking up any of the other titles, so I think it would be a little bit of a waste. So I'm going to skip issue 8 and go to issue 9, just because, again, it's related to Superman Doom, so I don't see a point of picking up the next issue if I'm not getting Superman Doom. But I will get the next issue after. I'm not dropping it, it's just one issue I'm not getting. So don't worry, I actually really love Superman Wonder Woman. I think it's a great series. Alright, number 7 is Batgirl, issue 30. I thought this was a solid issue. I think it's a little bit of a filler issue because I've talked about this in my in-depth review and complained about this, and we talked about this on the live show. Forever Evil delays. We get to see that a lot, and a lot of titles are being affected, and Batgirl is actually affected. I think this was supposed to be a Gail Simone issue, but I guess they backtracked too because of what happened to Dick probably, but they still describe what happened to Dick in this issue anyways. But yeah, so we find out what happens to Dick. It seemed like he died, but maybe that's what Batgirl thinks. Maybe he didn't actually die. We don't know until Forever Evil comes out. But this was affecting the issue a lot because we don't know what happened to Dick. And this whole issue is about Dick, so this was not placed in the right time. But yeah, so like I said, this whole issue is about Dick and Batgirl comparing herself to the Robins. And I like that. She referenced this monster, because the one shot, it's about this monster that these teenagers got to come out and attack everybody, but didn't do on purpose. It was like more of a Bloody Mary thing, and they didn't think it was actually going to happen. Now that did, it takes on the reflection of Batgirl, and it really just shows the monster of who she is and how she has her own wings. And I like that. I like that it showed that Batgirl is part of the Bat family, but she is different from the Robins, and why she's a bat instead of a robin and a bird. So I like that idea. I thought the narration is really the point of this issue, and I liked it. I like that Batgirl has been such a dark character with this series because of everything that's happened to her. And I think Dick's death has actually made her a lighter character and shows that in this issue. So I thought it was solid. It's very one-shotty. I couldn't put it higher than that. And also, again, the Forever Evil stuff, I try to keep it out of my mind, but it does affect the issue. So I'm gonna give this 4 stars. I thought it was a very solid issue. I honestly did like it. The narration was great, and I do miss the story arcs though. We do need to get into another story arc with Batgirl because there's still so much to say with Commissioner Gordon and honestly her family. So let's get back into that story. Hopefully we'll get into that with the next issue. Alright, next is number 6. I'm going to take a sip of water. Number 6 is Powerpuff Girls, issue 8. I love the Powerpuff Girls. This issue it's actually a story arc, which is weird to see. Usually I think this is a series that's more of a one-shot series, but it actually does have 2 story arcs already. I was just thinking I should have done a kitty corner for this issue, but I guess I'll just skip it for this week, and I'll do it next month. But, because I totally forgot to do the kitty corner review. But yeah, with Powerpuff Girls, I just love this issue. I almost gave it 4.5. I'm like, alright, maybe it's a 4-star book, but almost 4.5. But it's a fun issue. We get to see it's Monsters Day, and they are gonna eat the mayor, and Powerpuff Girls have given up. And Bubbles is like, hey, why are we giving up? Let's make this invention and make the Mojo Jojo's robots turn into our robots and attack the monsters. And they do that, and it's a really fun issue. The art reminds me so much of the cartoon. The tone of the series is so much like the cartoon. If you're a fan of the cartoon, pick up this series. It's so much fun. I gotta give it 4 stars, and I think it keeps improving. Again, the story arcs work for Powerpuff Girls, and I think your kids will enjoy it a lot too. So, give that 4 stars, almost 4.5 stars, so definitely pick it up. Alright, number 5. Now we're up to top 5, so 5 is Daredevil, issue 1.50. Now this is a better anniversary issue than XMen anniversary issue. There's 3 stories, but mostly 2 stories, I would say. The first issue is a Mark Waid story, so you know it's going to be good. It's actually showing Daredevil older, and he has a son, and we find out he's married. So it's the mystery of who this woman is. Is it Elektra? Is it Kristen McDuffie? It's neither of them, we find out. It's like this random girl he meets, but I thought that was actually better. Because like, if it was Kristen McDuffie, Elektra fans would get upset. If it was Elektra, Kristen McDuffie fans would get upset, I guess. But, I like that it was a nobody. And of course this is not canon, so we don't know what actually does happen. But he has a son, and his son did have Daredevil's powers, but it was too much for him. So he's more of a jittery guy. And we get to learn a little bit more about his son and how Matt's very proud of him and relates to his father with his son. So it's like the 3 generations, kind of. And then we get to see what's happened to Foggy. There's a story where Matt actually, to save everyone from being blind, and because of this like this eye drop thing that could turn into a computer but actually affects everyone's eyes, he makes himself literally blind again, like a true blind person, to save everybody. And he's going to cross the street and a car almost hits him and his son saves him, even though this jittery son does save him. Even though he's not really an active person. So I really liked that moment. I thought it was great, and I thought it was a really good, different story. Usually with these anniversary issues, like, oh, here is a generic story, and the last story is very generic. It's like, oh, this is what Matt's brother, Mike Murdock was, and Matt was pretending to be Mike, that way people didn't know he was Daredevil. So that was a little generic, and the art's kind of like fun. It's a silly story, so it's kind of silly art also. So that's a sillier story, and that's more of one of those anniversary stories we would probably get. And then the second story is actually a prose story. I don't know if I really liked that as prose, but it's about Daredevil's wife, and she died in the end, which was confusing because it seemed like in the first story she was alive, so I was a little confused by that. But it's a really fun issue. I gave this actually a 4.5. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was better than most anniversary issues because it felt like something different, something original, and it wasn't one-shotty stories. I think it worked because of the prose story, the first story is most of the issue, and the second story is a little silly, so it couldn't really go to 5 stars. But I really liked it. Mark Waid does no wrong, and I think it's definitely worth it if you're a Daredevil fan, or if you just want a good Daredevil story. It's actually really worth the extra $1, or extra $2. No, it's actually $3.99 now, so extra $1. Alright, and these are all very good issues. My top 5, I really loved all of these, because they got like 4.5 or 5 stars. So, number 4 is Captain Marvel issue 2. I really enjoyed this issue. I thought it was so much fun. We get to see Captain Marvel. She's up in space, and she's just doing a local missions, like a medical mission. And this girl, I guess her planet exploded or whatever. And we get to see that Captain Marvel brought her cat. And I guess these other aliens are destroying her ship, so the Guardians comes in to save her. He's like, oh, thanks for saving me. And Rocket Raccoon sees Captain Marvel's cat. He's like, that's a Weaslyak, whatever they call it. Let me see what they actually call him. A Flurkin. That's a Flurkin! Why is he there? He's like, no, this is my pet! So it's hilarious of how Carol was trying to get her cat, and Rocket Raccoon wanted to kill the cat. I thought it was such a hilarious scene. And also, honestly, in the beginning with the cat's like laying on the gear, and Carol's like, get out of here! Because, you know, if you're a pet owner and you know that, if you're busy with something and, you know, your dog or cat's annoying you, it's like, come on, move away, I'm doing something. So I thought that's such I think a great reference to any pet owner. Except now it's in space. So such a fun story with the Guardians, because the Guardians obviously she's gonna be part of the Guardians, so we're getting a good crossover with that. And now we get to see one of the medical ward people, the one she was actually trying to save, sees Star-Lord, and Star-Lord obviously is the son of the villain. It's like, why are you teaming up with him? So we'll have to see if Star-Lord ends up being saved, and if the medical, or the person who needed medical assistance will understand that Star-Lord's a good person. Such a fun issue. The art is great in this issue too. Loved it. The cat stuff just left me hysterical. I loved it. I thought it was really funny. So I'm going to give this a 4.5 stars. I thought it was really great. Hilarious, and it really surprised me with Captain Marvel, because I think the volume 1 of Captain Marvel is like, it's okay. And I actually ended up dropping it. But this has been a really, really fun series so far. So, recommend this issue. Really fun. If you like the Guardians of the Galaxies too, I think you'll really enjoy this. So I'm going to give it 4.5, and that was number 4. Definitely pick that up. Alright, number 3 is Kick-Ass 3, issue 7. And this is the second to last issue to the ending, honestly. I haven't been totally impressed with Kick-Ass 3 in general. I feel like it hasn't been an epic Act 3, but I thought this was a really, really good lead up to the ending. We get to see some really good moments. I don't want to spoil the whole thing, which I probably am, but spoiler alert. We get to see that Hit Girl is being drugged. She's about to go to her death, and Red Mist is like, hey, I want to save you, and he does. Except he's a horrible driver, so he runs off the track. Not on purpose either, but he's also got shot previously. So Red Mist dies, Hit Girl gets away, and Kick-Ass and Hit Girl are going to team up to defeat the police, all the police, and Red Mist's uncle. So I really like this because Red Mist actually changed his mind. And most of the time I'd be like, oh, that's kind of out there. But Red Mist is not out there, because he wanted to be a hero. He wasn't good at it. He wasn't accepted either. And then he wanted to be a villain. Wasn't so good at it, so he quit that. And in the end, he's like, you know, I think the mother died, actually. So he's like, maybe this is, you know, the mother was such an innocent person. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. So he asks for redemption from Hit Girl. Hit Girl's like, nah, I'm not forgiving you. And then he dies. So I thought that was really a perfect ending, Red Mist. But I did expect the final battle to be with Red Mist, because Red Mist has been that main villain. So I was a little disappointed that he wasn't the main villain, but I do like the way that he went out. I thought it was a really good death. And then there's some small moments here, like the Kick-Ass and Hit Girl hug, because really Hit Girl doesn't really like hugging people. But there's that moment, it's like, are we going to see each other ever again? Will this be our last hurrah? Will they both die in the end? Will one of them die, or will they live their happily ever after in the end of this? And I think with Mark Millar, he could kill both of them, and that's what I'm really excited to see. Like, are they gonna die? Like, what's gonna happen in this last issue? And also we have like Big Daddy and Hit Girl having this like Batcave type style thing, which I'll show you. Awesome. So yeah, there's just some really little moments here, and then the thrill was there too, because there's a lot going on, which I feel like with Act 3 there hasn't been a lot going on. So there's some great thrill here. Those are really good lead up to this last issue. Wish that this whole act was like this, but this is a very good issue. So I'm going to give it a 4.5. Really enjoyed Kick-Ass 3 this week. You'll see in 6 months how the next issue of Kick-Ass is, because Kick-Ass always gets delayed. Alright, so number 2 is Invincible, issue 110. I've heard some people say they didn't like this issue, but I thought it was really, really good. The art is amazing as always. We just have to say that with Invincible. It's always so great and gory. And there's actually some really crazy stuff that happens in Invincible in this issue. So he comes back after like 6 months, so Adam Eve is totally pregnant. Ready to pop any moment. And Adam Eve's like, get away. Robot told me you were dead. I didn't accept it for maybe a month, but then I had to accept it. And I realized, can I grow up our child without you? And she realized I can. And she's going to move out like in a couple of weeks, she said. She'll move with her parents. So I really love that moment because Adam Eve's always been there for Invincible and, been through the crap. And I think it's a really good parallel with his own father, where the father would always leave and the mother would get upset about that too. It's like, how much can you take with him leaving for 6 months and missing everything? So I love that moment where he's like, no, get out. And Invincible's like, I'm sorry, let me explain. He's like, no, get out. And that's just one thing that Invincible is really upset about. He's down. He's down. And then we get the second part where he gets raped. And yeah, that actually happens to Invincible, which you wouldn't really expect to a male character. And I thought that was a moment where, of course, it's like, oh, whoa, it's like, I don't want to see that. But it's also showing how Invincible is so down. This is his lowest moment. He just got raped, and he also just broke up with the person he loved and says, you're not allowed, we'll see what happens when you see your child. So I think this issue is mostly about, hey, Invincible is at his lowest point, what will he do? And again, the art is great. It's just a really emotional issue, and I thought it was really well done. So I think Robert Kirkman did a great job with this one. I gave it 5 stars. Almost my pick of the week, but there's something else that I was really hyped up with and really enjoyed overall. So what was my number 1 pick? So Invincible is such a good issue to lead up to issue 111 though. Number 1 is Batman Eternal. Such a good issue. With Batman Eternal, I was worried but excited for. What I was worried about, because it's a weekly issue, a weekly series, so worried, money, of course we have to spend a lot more money for Batman Eternal. I was worried that the story would decline, which it still can. We haven't read any of the other issues yet, but I was worried it was going to decline the story. Those are my worries. What I was really happy about is that this is a story about Batman. It's about the Bat family, and it's weekly. and Stephanie Brown's going to be here. And what I have read of what is going to happen in Batman Eternal, I was just really excited. And yeah, this issue was great. I really thought it was a great setup, and the beginning starts with actually the end. And Bruce is down. Everyone has died. Gotham is burnt up. He's not even wearing his mask. And who did this? We don't know. It starts with the ending, and you really question, wow, this is going to happen 52 issues later, but how does that happen? So in this issue, we get to see that Batman's trying to defeat, like, a regular villain, the Pig. I think his name's Mr. Pig. I always forget his name, but he's, like, kind of like a B-list Batman villain. And Commissioner Gordon's chasing somebody, and it's at the train track, so the train's going against him, and Batman's trying to get the train away. And Commissioner Gordon shoots somebody because he has a gun. And the guy says, I don't have a gun, I'm not armed. And Batman realizes he's not armed, this guy. But Commissioner Gordon shoots him, and it goes through this guy and makes something explode from the subway and makes the car crash into the wall and kills over a dozen people. And now Commissioner Gordon's like, wait, there's no gun? I saw the gun. And Batman says, there was no gun. So what is Commissioner Gordon seeing? What's making him see these things? And Commissioner Gordon gets arrested. So I just thought that was an epic beginning. I really thought that the setup was great. I love that they showed the ending of what's going to happen in Eternal. Commissioner Gordon's getting arrested. There's so many great things that are happening. It felt classic Batman to me. Especially with 0 Year going on. I haven't had that Batman feel, that true Batman feel. And this felt so great. I loved it. As a big Batman fan, as a humongous Bat Family fan, I loved it. And I think this is going to be a great, not just Batman story, but again, Bat Family story. And we start with that with just Commissioner Gordon getting arrested. But love this issue. I loved it. I hope with every issue it'll be my pick of the week. But we'll have to see. I really hope it doesn't descend because it's a weekly series. But loved it. I thought it was great setup. But there's so many great comics that came out this week. Like, my top 5 could have been a pick of the week. Like, Captain Marvel is so fun. And then we had Invincible, which is so emotional. But Batman, I had to give it a pick of the week because I was so hyped for it and met my hype. And I thought it was just a perfectly structured issue also. So really looking forward to more Batman Eternal. But yeah, not many bad comics this week. For 17 comics, there wasn't anything that went lower than 3 stars. So I think that was a great week. But tell me in the comments below, what was your worst pick of the week? What was your real pick of the week? Please tell me in the comments below what you thought about all the issues I talked about and all the issues you picked up this week. And of course, I'll have Comic and Know episode 44 next week. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic and Know and the right situations. And don't forget to like my Facebook page. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.